and welcome to Level Up IAS and welcome back to 10-minute series. Today we are back with another important topic, that is panning women authors of the 19th century. We're going to divide this video into three subparts, that is women authors from the Bengal presidency, then from Bombay presidency, and at last from Madras presidency. So let's start. Rassundari Devi. She is among the earliest women writers in Bengali literature. She was indeed the first Indian woman to write an autobiography and first Bengali female to do so. In 1876, her autobiography Amar Jeevan was published. She transgressed the popular belief of the 19th century when women's literacy brought distaste and disaster upon families, especially punishable for widows. Pandita Ramabai. She was a women's rights and education activist, a pioneer in the education and emancipation of women in India, and a social reformer. The University of Calcutta invited her to give a lecture and awarded her the title of Pandita because of her knowledge in Sanskrit. She was also conferred with the title of Saraswati owing to her knowledge and interpretations of the various Sanskrit texts. She was awarded with the Kasare-Hind Medal for Community Service in 1919, which was awarded by the British colonial government of India. Her writings include Stri Dharam Niti in 1882 and The High Caste Hindu Women in 1887. Binodini Dasi. She was born in a suburb of Kolkata which was inhabited mainly by sex workers. At the age of 13 or 14 in December 1874, she made her debut in the Great National Theatre in a minor role, that of Draupadi. Binodini performed in 90 roles in more than 50 plays and made women's participation on the stage acceptable to the society and advanced the cause of the Bangla theatre. She had a knack for writing and published her autobiography Amar Katha in 1912, in which she frankly unfolded her life, including how she was loved, loathed, betrayed, and exploited by men. Kamini Roy. She was a poet and a social worker. She was involved in cultural and social welfare activities, especially women's welfare. She was a member of the Female Labour Investigation Commission and the president of the literary section of the Bengal Literary Conference. Her first book of poems, Alo A Chaya, was published in 1889. Her other poetical works include Nirmalya in 1891, Paraniki in 1897, Gufjan in 1904, and many others. Begum Rokeya. She was a Bengali writer and activist. She has often been touted as the pioneer feminist of Bengal. She wrote many short stories, novels, poems, satire, and essays, calling for women to be treated equally as men. She held the lack of education to be responsible for women lagging behind men in her writings. She also founded a girls' school and an NGO named Anjuman-e-Khwatin-e Islam, Islamic Women's Association. Some of her major literary works include Abarod Bhasini, in which she attacked the extreme forms of veil and parda. Begum Rokeya also wrote a science fiction novel, Sultana's Dream, in which she lives in a feminist utopian world ruled by women. Some of her famous writings are as follows: Motichur, Pipasha, Padmarag, God Gives, Man Robs, and Boligardo. Bombay Presidency, Fatima Sheikh. She is considered as India's first Muslim women teacher. She co-founded one of the first schools in India for girls along with Savitribai Phule. She was an active member of Jyotiba's Satya Sodak Samaj movement. Her home served as the place where indigenous library, one of the first school for girls in India, was born. Tarabai Shinde. She was homeschooled by her father, who taught her Marathi, Sanskrit and English. As a result, she became an avid reader, proficient in classical and modern literature. She was a compatriot of activists Jyoti Rao and Savitribai Phule, from whom she received most of her experience. She was member of the Satya Sodak Samaj organization. She wrote Stri Purush Tulna, which was a reaction to a newspaper article in Pune Vaibhav, an orthodox newspaper which supported the caste and gender system. It was her first and only published work. Ramabai Ranade. She was a pioneer of the modern women's movement in India and outside. She was the founder and president of the Seva Sadan, which is the most successful of all Indian women's institutions. Her husband, M.G. Ranade, was a social and educational reformer and one of the founders of the Prarthana Samaj. She wrote of the inspiration and support her husband provided her in her autobiography, Amच्या आयुष्यातील काही आठवणी. She also chaired the first session of India Women's Conference held in Bombay in 1904. Sharda Mehta. She was an Indian social worker, proponent of women's education and a Gujarati writer. She was very influenced by Mahatma Gandhi, thus she promoted Swadeshi goods and khadi clothes. She was deeply influenced by Hindu texts, Sanskrit literature and the works of Aurobindo, Suklal Sangvi and Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. Puranoni Balbodhak Vartao is a collection of children's stories aimed at their development. She wrote Florence Nightingale's Nu Jeevana Charitra, a biography of English social reformer Florence Nightingale. She also wrote Griha Vyavastha Shastra, Balakonu Gruhu Shikshan is a work on child education. Vidyagauri Nilkanth. She is Gujarat's first women graduate. She married Ramabai Ranade in 1889 and together they wrote many articles, books and jointly edited a magazine, Jnana Sudha. She sang Vande Mataram at the annual session of the Indian National Congress in Ahmedabad. In 1936, on Vidyagauri's 60th birthday, Mahatma Gandhi said, "No celebration is enough for Vidya Bain's sake because she is an ornament of Indian womanhood. The more we can honor her, the better. She is an ardent social reformer, but at the same time maintains our tradition." She had written several essays with light humor as well as biographical sketches. Forum includes biographical sketches of her relatives and associates which influenced her. Her other essay collections are Griha Deepika, Nari Kunj and Gnana Sudha. Madras Presidency. Bandaru Acchamamba. She was the first feminist historian of the 19th century India. She began her work of art Abala Sacharitra Ratnamala by quoting a Sanskrit verse. In 1902, along with Orungati Sundari Ratnamamba, she established the first women's association in coastal Andhra. It was called Brindavanam Strila Samajam at Machilipatnam. She wrote stories, essays and poems published in leading magazines like Hindu, Sundari and Saraswati. Her work includes like Dhana Trayodasi, Abala Sacharitra Ratnamala, Bida Kutumbam, Khana and Satakam. Kotikalapudi Seethamma. She was an Indian writer and social reformer. She presided over the first Telugu women's writer meeting called Pradha Mandra Mahila Sabha in Bapatla in 1913. Some of her famous works includes Ahalyabai, Sadhuraksha Satakamu and many others. Thank you. With this we have finished this video. I hope you liked it and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.